Hey there, friend, and welcome to the show. My name is Sarah Rusk, and I am the host of the Hey There, Friend podcast. So today I'm kind of going to wing this a little bit because I kind of have the need to talk. Oh, it's 9:59. Look at that. It is currently Thursday, July 1st, and I've been going through some stuff, and I kind of feel like a lot of you have been going through some stuff as well. Literally, this episode is just me kind of talking and freeballing it. I have kind of like a miniature list of stuff that I kind of want to cover and talk about. This episode is more so judge the content, not the quality. It's currently raining. It's dark. There's people home. There's dogs that are really hot and they're slamming their bodies into doors because they're hot and want to get into some sort of AC. Currently sweating my butt off in my office with the windows closed because it's raining and you can hear it in the recording. So, anyway. I know for a fact that a couple of you out there need to hear what I have to say, and I'm just gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna tell you a story of what's been going on with me since March. It's been a really fun roller coaster, and boy, oh boy, so many things have happened. In between March and July 1st, I became a reverend. For a hot second, I had a relationship. I got a tattoo. I got my BA Metaphysical Science. I took my horse to a barrel race. Oh, I know there's other stuff that I've done there too. I've done a lot of stuff, done a lot of shit, man. So let me touch briefly on this relationship thing. It's really fun. It was a lot of fun. I did it on a whim because I was trying to leverage the universe, so to speak, to kind of bring somebody else into my life. And it kind of worked out for a hot second, but then it fizzled, which, hey, stuff like that happens. But I learned a lot about myself through the whole process and the whole journey. And there's something that Mike Dooley talks about, how we are all pretty much just like pieces of one another. We're essentially fractals of like this big one source, God, as a lot of you could say. I kind of call it the universe, I guess, or some universal energy. I don't want to sound egotistical, but I tend to say it's like, me, I am like a little miniature God living out a miniature God life. But everybody here is essentially the same being, just living out different lives with different names from different perspectives, obviously. And he had said that some people, incarnate together, and like when we're up in like the ethereal realm, before we come down here, we all make an agreement to be like, hey man, like you got to teach me this lesson. Like I so want to learn, patience. I want to learn how to be a little bit more empathetic. I need to learn, X, Y, and Z. And your buddy next to you or another piece of you is just like, dude, I got you. Like I'm totally going to dim my light in order to teach you this valuable lesson because, hey, like we're in Earth school, essentially, and we're all learning lessons. Like, point blank, at this point, all the stuff that I study, and I study a shit ton of this stuff. Like, I've got books on all of this. I'm getting my freaking PhD in this stuff. Like, we're all here. Excuse me. We're all here. Everything is here to serve us as we serve the world, and not in a bad way. There's a word that I could use, I'm sure, or a phrasing, but I'm so tired that I can't even think of it. But we're all here pretty much to help each other. That's it. In the most selfless way possible. We're all here for each other, but we tend to lose that. But anyway, thinking about people, how they've dimmed their light in order to help strengthen ours and show us how bright ours are, I think about what I'm going through and how it was so selfless of this person in the ethereal realm to be like, hey, I'm going to dim my light a little bit for you so you can see how bright you are. And like when I thought about that, or there's a couple of people that I think about with that, it actually like I teared up thinking about it, thinking about how like that's such a selfless thing to do, like to help me grow. All these different individuals are just kind of coasting, and it makes me want to do this even more to help all of these other people kind of see how bright they can be and how they don't need to come from a dark place or be in a dark place like all the time, and that they too can kind of bust out and shine their light too in a safe way. and in a way that they aren't going to get hurt again for like the millionth time. Because I mean, this stuff is scary. Being open and vulnerable is very scary. Like, I'm sharing a lot of deep stuff that I'm going through right now, and a lot of people, if you're, depending on who you are, you could take this and throw it back at me and just be like, oh my god, you're a crybaby, you complain about everything and all this other stuff. And it's like, no, I'm not complaining, I'm processing. This is how I process. I talk to a microphone in my room with my guinea pig. Right, Ree? Yeah, she says she hates me. Anyway, so that taught me a lot, and hey, all I could say about that. It also taught me not to be so dependent on somebody else for being so happy. I also kind of learned why I got so happy, besides the fact that like I liked the person. But that's kind of besides the point. It was more so, I thought about like the scientific reasoning and like the dopamine that I would get from like texts and responses and how it made me feel. And it it's more than just the person. It's also just like the psychological aspect. Like, I was on cloud nine for such a long time and everything felt like it was going my way. And after coming out of it and kind of crashing, because of course, everything kind of ebbs and flows, coming out of it and crashing, I realized I didn't have that dopamine anymore. And my body was just like, oh my God, we need this back. We need the dopamine back. So I started to go inwards and think to myself, well, what am I lacking? Why can't I provide this for myself? Because I don't want to have to rely on anybody or anything to give me this quote unquote honeymoon effect, so to speak. Bruce Lipton talks a lot about the honeymoon effect. How can I make this dopamine happen on its own without needing something to cause it or trigger it? How can I trigger it myself? So I listened to my body. I heard my gut talking to me, because we got two brains. We've got our gut pretty much in our head. And my gut was saying that it wasn't happy. It hurt all the time. I really couldn't eat. I would look at food. Oh, that's another big thing. I lost like 50 pounds. Like, random, right? Well, not random. I've been working hard my entire life, but I finally found something that works for me. I cut back my food drastically and I work out just about every single day, and it works. And I'm like skinny now, which is weird because I'm telling you, dude, like, beauty most certainly is an inside job. Like, everyone keeps telling me like, oh my God, you're so skinny. And I'm like, I still feel the same exact way I did when I was 198 pounds. And I weighed myself this morning and I was 160. Like, my lifetime goal was 165. And I like well surpassed that, and I'm keeping it down. I was like 156, 158 a couple of weekends ago, but that's also because I was at a barrel race and I didn't eat all weekend. But it was getting to the point where I was not eating. I couldn't finish food, and I would just feel like I just wanted to pretty much like puke acid 24/7, and something was not right, and I was not comfortable. I was getting really anxious, and my eye was twitching, and that's when I knew that I don't need to go back to the doctor and get myself, an antidepressant or an SSRI. This is deeper. This is something different. I don't want to put a Band-Aid on it. So I went to the health food store. I talked to a guy that he's helped me and my family out so much over the years with different things. He saved my dad's toe when he had really bad gout. He's helped me out with a lot of digestion issues, and he gave me some things to try. And like, he gave me this powder. I can't quite remember what it is, but it's pretty much about like resetting your stomach lining. And literally, like, the first day I took it, like not even like 10 minutes later, immediately felt better. You could call it a placebo if you so choose. It worked. I don't really care. I've been taking it for 3 days now, and it's been awesome. He gave me something called lemon balm, which literally is like my new best friend. He told me it would be. It helps to kind of keep the chatter in my mind a little bit quiet, because that's been a lot of my problem too, is the chatter going back and forth in my brain, and I'll explain why in a little bit. And he gave me a probiotic, and I gotta tell you, the fire in my belly has subsided a lot. I'm able to eat a little bit more, which is really good. But it helped. And I'm very proud of myself for being able to listen to my body. And even he was saying too, he's like, you know your body, which is awesome. I'm very thankful that I listened to what was wrong, where the pain was. I located the pain. I was like, all right, it's in my gut. I feel this way when I eat. I was getting some indigestion. I was burping. All of these signs to me indicate that something is wrong with my gut. And I cooled off my gut and I feel better. So yeah. So I, this theme of no control has been popping up for me. Like I've been trying to control things, which is another reason why not a reason, but one of the things that had happened with this relationship that was going on, was control. And I thought things needed to go specific ways. And it's not even for this, but just other relationships and friendships, like having expectations. Like, yes, it's healthy to have expectations, but like healthy expectations. It's taught me a lot about just letting things play out and not needing to control situations. Like, I can make suggestions, and if it goes that way, great, but also not needing to hold on to whatever like outcome I want. As long as like happiness for both parties is the end goal, totally down with that. That's like best case for everybody. So I took my horse Abigail to our first barrel race a couple of months ago. I had such a great time. It was a lot of fun. She was really well behaved for me, just around the event property. You know, I rode her in a couple of the different arenas and she was being really good. She's never been overnight at a show before, and she didn't make a peep or scream when any of her friends had left their stall to go do their thing. I only had an issue with her when it came time to do the actual event, because it is a fast-paced event, and I don't want to say lost control of her a couple of times, but I pretty much lost control of her a couple of times, and she ran me around the arena. But at least I was able to complete the pattern, and it was okay. And like I kind of chalked it up to like, oh, it was her first time. She was a little bit nervous. I had 4 successful runs. I had 4 times. I got a couple of cool pictures, one good video. I made light of everything. Like the third run I did with her, she ran me around the entire arena, and I just joked and I said that she was taking me to the frozen margarita stand in the back. She knew that I liked those. You know, I got lots of awesome pep talks from my friends that came with me, and they really encouraged me to not give up and to keep trying. And you know, it was a good time. It rained a lot and it was cold, but I still had a really good time. So I did a lot of homework afterwards, a lot of riding Abigail again and working on different things. And, you know, I thought she was feeling better. She was able to move a little bit better. I had her chiropractic, I had an energy healer come out and do some stuff with her and whatnot. And I thought we were going to do really good the next time. I was going to run her in less events so she wasn't as frazzled. And we were all ready and stuff like that to go in for our first class on that Saturday. And she kept trying to run my friend over, and I'm like, oh God, here we go. This isn't my horse. So I go to take her into the arena, and she takes off at a dead run, and I can't stop her or slow her down. We bypass the first barrel, and she runs me in the opposite direction around the entire arena. And I have no horse and no brakes, and I have to slam her into the gate to get her to stop. So that's kind of when panic sets in, because I have another race the next day. And I went to go work her in the indoor to see if I could troubleshoot any of the issues, and she's freaking out and she's just not happy. And I'm a little concerned that she might kind of rear up or flip, because when she gets really stressed out and she can't avoid the stress, she does everything she can to get the stressor off and away from her. And it wouldn't be malicious. It would just be because she is feeling a kind of way. So I was talking to my friend, and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, tomorrow's run is nothing. I have no horse. She's gone. Pretty much all my hard work has now just gone out the window. All 3 years of all of this hard work and training is just gone, which it happens. I really think it was some kind of PTSD from some other traumas that she encountered through other people in her life. And my friend was thinking about it, and she's like, well, why don't you use one of my horses? And she offered me her 1-barrel horse, and I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, we'll split the costs and everything like that. It's totally fine. And I was like, huh, all right, cool. I figured why not. So we came up with a plan that we would, you know, I'd ride this horse, and I'm actually bringing her to the show tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I'm happy I'm doing this post or pre-show, because I got a lot of feelings going on. So we came up with a plan with Abigail that we were going to give her a little bit of a sedative just to kind of bring her down a little bit the next day, so I had a safer run. And I talked to a couple of the other competitors at the race who are all so sweet, so nice, and they said that she probably has some kind of like ulcer or gut issue. Huh, look at that. My horse and me mirror each other. We've got gut issues. And they said that you might want to try different pastes, and I got a bunch of recommendations, and I bought one of the pastes and I gave her half of it along with the sedative before the run. And I went to go bring her up to the gate, and she was a fire-breathing dragon. And it was funny. I actually have a fun little a spiritual story to kind of share with this. My dad passed away a long time ago, and anybody who knows me knows, like, there's history with that. Like, he was just not a very healthy or nice man. But I've made peace with it, and it is what it is, and it's over with. And I made it out alive, which is the important part. And when we were there the last time, it was Father's Day, and I was trying to get Abigail just to walk. I just wanted to walk the goddamn pattern. I didn't even want to trot it. I just wanted to get her in there so she can just calm down and breathe. And I would bring her forward, and she was just not having it, and I had no control again. She started slamming me into the gate and the fence, and it was a disaster. We were flailing for about like 3 minutes, and then this man, one of the gate guys, just came up and grabbed Abigail's tie down and moved me in a circle. And I was like panicking a little bit. I was like, oh my God, not that fast, not that fast. And while he was doing that, I had a really weird father-like energy there with me. And it's funny because I'm actually like starting to get a little choked up thinking about it again. And the guy set me on my way. We walked to the first barrel and it was okay. And then I got a little bit more confident and I trotted to the second barrel. And then she said no and just flew me right back to the alley. And I got off and it was just awful. And I made a new friend. She looked at me. She's like, oh, hey, how did it go? And I kind of just shook my head and I was like, not good. And I kept walking and I started to cry. And it wasn't because of how disastrous the run was. It was more so about what the man had done and just the energy that I felt along with it. And it's just so bizarre how things like that happen. But that really meant a lot to me. And I'm sure the guy was just frustrated. He was probably like, come on, I want to move on with the day. Like, let's just get this girl out of here. But it was a weird energy that I can't shake. I really can't. So needless to say, Abigail has been benched until next season if I can get her to kind of be a little bit more level-headed. And if not, then you know what? Barrel racing's not for her. And I'll try something else with her. You know, she's still a really good girl. So I've had 2 weeks to work with this other horse who is actually a barrel horse and can go from 0 to 60 in a matter of a second. And I used to be a speed junkie and I used to love to run. I would take my horse Braveheart out and we would go like galloping out through the fields and everything. And I'd always push him to go a little bit faster. And I don't want to say that I didn't care, but like I just didn't care. I had such a great time with him. And then when he died, I got Abigail. And I had to kind of take that and slow that down. And we spent 3 years of just slow and breathe and slow. So naturally, I'm going to kind of go along with my horse. And then I got slow. And I got afraid of going fast because going fast with Abigail was danger. So I got on this horse and I attempted to make a run. And it was, needless to say, a shit show. My saddle just wasn't right and it was all over the place. I kept popping this poor horse in the mouth because I was terrified of going so fast. But my friend was really great and she said, we're going to practice this again one more time for the last time ever, the next day. And we did, and I used her saddle instead and I made a much better run. It was clean. It was perfect. Almost perfect. I popped the horse once in the mouth because she shot out of the first barrel so fast and snapped it that it scared me. And I lost my rein. I almost lost my stirrup. But I still was able to do it and I was proud of myself for doing it. And my friend seemed really, really happy with the run, which was really important to me that she approved of how I rode her horse. So I've pretty much had to, these past 2 weeks, I've had to redo everything that I've been doing for the past 3 years. And it has been so damn hard. And it's pretty much like the opposite of what I've been doing, but I'm doing it. And granted, it's been giving me awful anxiety. I go to lay down at night and I panic about like making this run because I'm so used to that arena. I now have an association with being ran off with, but I now have a horse that I can actually trust to do its job. So what I've been doing when I go to sleep, instead of panicking and worrying about what's going to happen, I sit and I think about the announcer calling my name. And then I feel like the swirl of like my stomach, churning. And then I sit again and I have the announcer call my name again. And I kind of, for lack of a better term, am desensitizing myself to this fear and the emotions that come along with it, and kind of just being like, okay, it just is. If you're feeling nervous lying in your bed, imagine how you're going to feel when you're on the horse and it's happening. So let's just keep doing this a whole bunch of times. And then once I got through that, I envisioned myself on the horse running to the first barrel and then stopping. And then going back and rewinding it and running to the first barrel and stopping. And then once I got through that anxious moment, I would move on to the second barrel and then back it up and then go to the second barrel and then back it up. And then I'd do it with a third. And then I'd run the pattern in my head again and again and again and again. And I would do it until I finally felt comfortable. And then I was able to fall asleep. So I've literally ran this race in my head like well over 100 times at this point. And it's nothing more than like, I know it's not healthy to be obsessing over something, but I need to make it okay with myself. And that's how I'm able to do it. So if you're going through something stressful, it kind of playing it out in your head, how it's going to benefit you and how you're going to be able to get through it and be confident, I think is a great superpower to have. And like I had said at the top of this episode, I got a tattoo. I got my freaking dream tattoo, man. Beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous fox head on a lotus with an unalome coming out the bottom of it. The fox is my spirit animal. I apologize if it's not PC to say anymore, but I really freaking love foxes. The lotus flower, which represents, a beautiful flower that needs to grow through a whole bunch of like disgusting muddy water in order to bloom, and it's one of the most beautiful flowers out there. And an unalome, which represents the path to enlightenment. And I've actually had this tattoo on my my new moon wish list for, I want to say probably about the past 2 years, to find the perfect tattoo artist and the perfect image too, because I've been looking for a long time, and I found it, and I couldn't have asked for a better tattoo or a better experience. And I'm terrified of needles. I got my eyebrow pierced. I passed out. When I got my ears pierced a long time ago, passed out. So me and pain don't really go hand in hand. So when I went to go get the tattoo, it was a week ago today actually, I prepped myself. I made sure to get a good night's sleep. I was not concerned. I was not worried. I ate a really good breakfast in the morning. I got there early. I brought my essential oil, lavender guy with me. I brought water. I brought snacks. I came prepared. And I was all set and ready to go. And I got in the chair. I prepped myself. I even peed before. I said, hey, gotta go to the bathroom. They're like, we got you. So I was all good. I sat in the chair. I said, hey, just so you know, first couple of minutes might be a little bit difficult for me. They said, no problem. It's all right. So I sat there and she started. And a couple of minutes go by and I start to feel that like sinking feeling because I felt okay, but the anxiety had nowhere to go. So I dropped my mask a little bit and the girl stopped and she said, hey, so we're going to take a break for a hot second. I feel your heart rate going up and you're getting a little clammy and you moved your mask down. So we're going to get you some Mountain Dew, code red. That's apparently Miracle Tonic, by the way. And we're just going to breathe for a sec. So they got me the Mountain Dew and I came right back and it was great. And she was able to keep going for 4.5 hours pretty much. So if I can sit in a chair and have a needle repetitively poke me and stab me for 4.5 hours, I can ride a horse for 17 seconds. Like I ride every single day. So all of this is just kind of to put things into perspective. Like you think one thing is really bad, but then you think about something else you're going through and you're like, well, if I can survive this, I can most certainly do this. Like you're not even going to be coherent for most of it. Like I kind of feel like I'm in a lull and I'm just kind of drifting throughout life and doing my thing. And Like I'm here, but I'm not. It's weird. I don't know if you feel like that too, dude. Like, it's very strange. But things aren't always going to turn out the way that you think they are. So instead of me kind of putting limits on this weekend, I'm just going with the flow, letting it be. It's going to happen however it's going to happen. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to be confident and ride like the rider that I know I am, and just kind of let everything else fall into place. And I actually went to go see an intuitive witch, Hospreya, really great place in, oh goodness, is it Morristown? No, Montclair in New Jersey. This woman Daisy was offering these like manifestation help sessions, and I was gonna do it a couple of weeks ago but decided not to, and then we had a heat wave the past couple of days, so I had to cancel my lessons, and I was like, you know what, I've got a spare day, I'm gonna go talk to her. And I did, and I had a great time. And I told her what I was going through. I said that I'm trying to manifest hi Charlie, I'm trying to manifest a motivational speaking career. And she was like, all right, tell me some of the stuff you're going through. And I explained some of the stuff I was going through. And she said, all right, well, we got to work a lot on your self-confidence, your self-love. Bye, Charlie. Self-expression and getting into your power. And I was like, absolutely. I totally need to do that. So she gave me some really awesome tips and suggestions and affirmations to say and stuff to do. And she told me, she's like, you're very much so empathic. You're very much so intuitive. And I was like, yeah, tell me about it. I feel everything. I know what people are thinking and feeling before they even say it most times. And it's hard. And she said that she wants me to come back in a month, and she's going to have me let her know how I'm doing. Meditating with selenite, let me tell you, one of the greatest things ever. And she told me that next time, she's like, I can't wait to get my hands on your third eye. And I cannot wait. I'm so excited. Anyway, so she told me that absolutely I'm destined for some pretty big things. And I'm super excited about that, to get started with that. So to kind of wrap this episode up, actually went on a lot longer than I thought. I actually kind of like freestyling this. Hopefully you got some good nuggets out of it, besides me just kind of rambling for a little bit. All of this has also led me to need to go back into therapy. I've kind of felt like I haven't had a voice in certain situations, and I've had to ask a couple of people, like, do I sound like a rambling idiot sometimes? And they're like, no, you're good. I'm like, okay. So I need to work on empowering myself, which, friend, I feel like you might need to as well. A really good quote that I heard the other day from Mike Dooley. He said, don't solve the problems of tomorrow with today's resources. And like, I feel that. I'm trying to solve Saturday and Sunday's problems with the resources that I have on Thursday. I was trying to solve these problems with the resources I had, like, gosh, last Friday, you know? So kind of consider that. Think about that. You know, what problems are you trying to solve with the resources that are in front of you right now? I will say there's nothing like a good shower or a good nap. Like, that shit can cure anything. It really can. So I greatly appreciate you tuning in and listening to this episode. Tuning in, that is very funny to say. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. I am grateful for your attention for the past half hour. And no matter what life throws at you, keep swinging. Eventually you'll hit something, and it's going to take off like a rocket, and it's going to propel you to some great things. And before you know it, you're going to be where you've always wanted to be. And you're going to take a look back and be like, well, goddamn, how did this happen? No matter what, just promise me you'll keep singing. Okay, friend?